Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Those who are here with us, those who are watching around the world via the internet, social media, and all the other avenues we have for broadcast. My name is Rabbi Levi Shem Tov. I'm the Executive Vice President of American Friends of Lubavitch Chabad, the sponsor of this magnificent, wonderful celebration that kicks off Hanukkah not only across the country, but around the world. We are going to begin our program now with a special group of cantors called the Three Cantors, led by Maestro Avremi Gerari. Their names are Nissim Sal, Benny Rogosnitsky, and Beryl Zucker. They will be accompanied by the United States Marine Band, known as the President's Own, widely regarded as one of the best military bands, if not the best military band in the country. They'll be led by Colonel Jason Fettig, with whom I've had the honor and pleasure to work for almost 20 years now. And I want to hear the greatest round of applause for Colonel Fettig and all of the work he's put in. While Maestro Avremi Gerari has assumed the role of the musical director for this event, I'd like to recognize over a quarter century of service by Cantor Jeff Nadell, who began this role when the crowd was equal to or only slightly larger than the band. And now, thank God, this has grown to the point where thousands of people are holding tickets to get here. We're in rush hour. It's not Sunday afternoon. We'll be patient until they all arrive. But we are on a schedule. We're expecting a principal from the White House to be here shortly, and we want to keep with the time that they set. We also have a very important guest who's with us as a beautiful surprise I learned of last night. He is the mayor of the largest, or the city that holds the largest Jewish community outside Israel, and is undoubtedly one of the staunchest friends of the Jewish community, who is himself not Jewish, although sometimes we wonder. Can you please put it together and recognize properly the Honorable Eric Adams, the mayor of New York? Now, it's one thing when you feel the love in New York and you give the love in New York because they can vote for you. We can't, but we love you nevertheless because of what you do up there. So thank you very, very much, and we do wish you all the best. Thanks for being with us, especially in these times. And if I could mention that the love that Eric Adams has, not only for the Jewish community, but the Chabad community, extended itself all the way to Africa. Because when he visited Ghana, his ancestral homeland, I got a video clip of him participating in a celebration at Chabad in Accra. So I think that this shows that the love for our people is very deep, it's unique, it's real, and we appreciate it. I'd like to welcome the Honorable Stuart Eisenstadt, who's the chairman of the United States Holocaust Memorial Council. He was the one who actually helped start this program way back in the Carter administration, which I remember, but many of you may not have even been here yet. But in a very famous story, my father, who I'll introduce in a moment, applied for a permit to put this menorah, or its previous iteration. This one was just constructed of recycled aluminum with the help of ISRI in recent years. The recycling industry all got together and made us a new menorah out of recycled aluminum. But at that time, it was put up in Lafayette Park across on the other side of the White House. And the permit was declined. And so my father, Rabbi Abraham Shem Tov, went to Mr. Eisenstadt and said, perhaps you could help us out. He picks up the telephone to the Secretary of Interior and he says, look, you have a choice. Either you're going to approve the permit for the National Menorah, or you're not going to have your celebration on the other side of the White House on the ellipse for your holiday. And if you don't do this, I'll go to the president and you'll probably lose. Needless to say, the permit was approved. And even though it was in the throes of the hostage crisis, the Iranian hostage crisis, the president walked out of the White House and lit the menorah. And since Ambassador Eisenstadt is here with his family, I'd like him to stand and be recognized, please. And he's here with his family, and I'm delighted that he and my father have been watching this tradition for 45 years now. And when I speak of my father, that's Rabbi Abraham Shem Tov, who's the chairman of Agudas Chasidei Chabad, the international umbrella organization of the Chabad Lubavitch movement, and the national director of American Friends of Lubavitch, Chabad, and the one who actually birthed this idea into reality, as you'll be able to read about in the Hanukkah guides that will soon be distributed. But would you please stand and be recognized so everyone can wish you a happy Hanukkah. So to welcome us to this event, especially in times when we are all reading about war and conflict, we ask for peace. And when we greet each other in peace with the phrase Shalom Aleichem, we have an angelic wish of serenity. To hear how beautifully that is rendered by our President's Own United States Marine Band, I ask you turn your attention to the stage on my right.
Aleichem Malachi Ashoreis, Malachi Elyoim, Melech Malchi Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachi Ashoreis, Malachi Elyoim, Melech Malchi Amlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachi Ashoreis, Malachi Shalom Aleichem, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום, שלום, שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום עליכם, הבאנו שלום, שלום, שלום עליכם. מלאכי השורש, מלאכי עליונים, מלך מלכי המלוכים, הקודש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם מלאכי השורש, מלאכי עליונים, מלך מלכי המלוכים, הקודש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם מלאכי השורש, מלאכי
Now, we all love Hanukkah songs, along with our latkes and our donuts and all of our wonderful fun things that we do. The Marine Band has put together a Hanukkah medley for us, and some of you might have these booklets. The rest are being distributed, but the words will go onto the screen. The first song that we're going to play is in honor of somebody we all adore, comes to visit us every year. Well, we go through the same thing every time. He doesn't like to leave his tent until we hear his name. And who do you think it is? Did I hear somebody say who they thought it was? If you say it a little louder, he may actually show up, because we're not Sunday. This is a midweek crowd. But can we please hear at the top of your lungs, who do you think it is? Oh, I think we hear him as soon as the music starts. With Dreidel theme, I think we're going to see him.
A little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, the dreidel I shall play. Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play.
Has a lovely body with legs so short and thin, and when it's so tired it drops and then I win. Oh dreidel, 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 with legs so short and thin. Oh dreidel, 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 it drops and then I win.
Dreidel always playful, it loves to dance and spin. A happy game of dreidel, come play now, let's begin. Oh dreidel, 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 it loves to dance and spin. Dreidel, 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 come play now, let's begin.
Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Chag Yafe Kol Kach, Or Chaviv Misaviv, Gilei Yeled Rach. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Seviv Anesav Esav, Sov, 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 Marayim Atov. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, En Chalon Bli Esh, Levivot Sufganiyot, Bechol Bayit Yesh. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Chag Chaviyot, Shiru purkan, ve'ala kudos, ve'ala shuos, ve'ala milchamos, she'osis alav iseinu, vayamim ohem basman hazeh. Al hanisim ve'ala purkan, ve'ala kudos, ve'ala shuos, ve'ala milchamos, she'osis alav iseinu, vayamim ohem basman hazeh. Salav Oseinu, Vayomim Moed Basman Hazeh. Al Hanisim ve'al HaPurkan, ve'al HaKudos, ve'al HaTshuvos, ve'al HaMilchomos, she'osi Salav Oseinu, Vayomim Moed Basman Hazeh. Vayomim Moed Basman Hazeh. Vayomim Moed Basman Hazeh.
Was that something? Let's hear it for the United States Marine Band and the three cantors. As we know, something that's on everyone's mind these days is the sharp rise in anti-Semitism. Hanukkah notes a victory over anti-Semitism. And as you know, one theme we can focus on is that the best counter to anti-Semitism is a robust and informed Semitism. One of our partners this evening who has helped make this possible is the Shine a Light Foundation. I saw a public service announcement recently which I thought was worth sharing with you. And if you could please watch this PSA on the screens to my right and left.
Anti-Semitism, a trail of hatred going back thousands of years. It lives in the shadows. It's not always swastikas and synagogue shootings. It shows up on social media and flyers on front lawns. Whatever its shape, the message is hate. And the shadow of anti-Semitism is growing. It starts with hating Jews, but it never ends there. If it stays hidden, it continues to spread. Help shine a light on anti-Semitism. Visit shinealighton.com, and together, let's drive out the darkness.
You can access their work on the QR code on your menorah cases. And we want to thank them once again for their partnership with us tonight. So speaking of social media, we have with us someone who has 15 million followers on TikTok and on Instagram, things that I didn't even know existed until very recently. But given that influence, we thought we'd have her come and share some thoughts, especially given her family's history. Could you please put your hands together and welcome Montana Tucker.
Hello, everyone. My name is Montana Tucker, and I first want to thank Rabbi Shem Tov for having me and for all of you for coming out to this incredibly beautiful event. For those of you who don't know me, I am a singer, actress, dancer, and social media activist. But most importantly, I am a proud Jew. And my Hebrew name is Miriam. Both of my grandparents are Holocaust survivors, and I grew up hearing their stories my entire life. Never again. My Zadie, Grandpa Michael, always wore a pin that said, "Never forget." After the Holocaust, he made it his life's mission to make sure that he shared his story with everyone he met so that no one would ever forget what happened to the Jewish people during the Holocaust and to make sure nothing like that would ever happen again. He passed away 4 years ago at the age of 97. I made a promise to my Zadie to not let him down, to not let Israel down, and not let the Jewish people around the world down, because his mission is now my mission. Never again is now. Now, I have been so incredibly blessed with a combined social media following of almost 15 million, and I have seen the power of what happens when we speak up and speak out. 1 year ago, I released a Holocaust educational series called How to Never Forget, which concluded with a visit to Auschwitz. My grandma Lily is a survivor of Auschwitz, who at the age of 13 was forced to witness the brutal beating of her own mother by 2 Nazi soldiers who then dragged her to the death chambers while my grandmother stood by, helpless. What allowed the horrors of the Holocaust to unfold was the silence of so many. The failure of ordinary citizens to speak out against growing anti-Semitism and discrimination at the time. All of us here, we carry the legacy, strength, and resilience of those who came before us, and we must continue to speak out for what we believe in and for what is right. We must stand strong and not let anyone bring us down. It is so important for my generation and for the younger generation to speak out and be leaders, especially with the current climate and the sharp rise of anti-Semitism on college campuses and in high schools. Your words can make a difference. Now, you don't have to have millions of followers on social media to be a leader. You don't even have to have hundreds of thousands or even hundreds. All it takes is for one person to listen and to make a difference. You never know the impact you or that one person will make. I know that all of us here are so grateful for the hostages that have been released from Gaza and that are back home with their families. However, there are still over 100 that remain in captivity and unaccounted for. But they are all here with us in spirit today. Now, we must all continue to pray, do mitzvot, speak out for their safe return, and do everything else we can to bring them home now. All right, now let's focus on why we all came here together today. To celebrate my personal favorite Jewish holiday, and probably yours, Hanukkah. The Hebrew word Hanukkah means dedication. I know each and every one of us is dedicated to making a change in the world to bring light into the darkness that surrounds us. And we must dedicate ourselves even more to this sacred task. We must never lose hope. We must be the Maccabees of today. Without fear and together, we will strengthen each other and prevail, like those whose story we mark with this very event of Hanukkah here on America's front lawn, across the United States and around the world. Now, I will keep the promise I make with what I just spoke of, and I ask you all to join me. Never forget. Never again. And now, can you all please repeat after me? Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael. Thank you all so much and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you very much, Montana, Miriam. I'm sure your Zadie and your Bubby are very proud of how you're using your influence. I can see your mother is thrilled beyond belief. And we look forward to you spreading the word in the light of Hanukkah on Instagram. We're about to introduce the winners of our National Menorah essay contest. But first, I think I want to share something I did last year when I was reviewing previous events, and Joe Biden was the vice president. He came and actually participated in this very event. And I'd like you to share what I saw. It's a very brief clip, but some words that were on his mind on that day. If you can please put your attention to the screens on my left and right.
The Lubavitcher Rebbe taught us that every living thing must grow. And just as Hanukkah lights will grow from the first day to the 8th, just as even those who have achieved good and holy things must never be satisfied with what they've achieved yesterday, may you all go from strength to strength. The truth is that Jewish heritage, Jewish culture, Jewish values are an essential, such an essential part of who we are, that it's fair to say that Jewish heritage is American heritage. That's who we are as a people. And to me, that's part of the miracle we all celebrate together as you celebrate with your families tonight.
Those words ring true today as the moment he said them. And I can tell you that maybe 200-300 yards behind me there in the Eisenhower office building of the White House complex, he convened a meeting of Jewish leaders soon after October 7th, after the horrific attack by Hamas on innocent Israelis, Jews, and even some people who were not Jewish, who were tortured, killed, taken captive. And during his words to us, it was a small group, the president was worked up to the point where he pounded the podium and said, "Sometimes there just aren't two sides." I could repeat those words. You could have read them in the news. Being in the room and watching that passion was very, very important and moving. And so I think now is a time for us to give a real round of applause to the president and his administration and all they're doing to counter the hate that's being thrust upon the Jewish people in Israel around the world. Earlier today, I was asked how many family members of hostages might be present at this event. And I want to recognize we have some people here from Zaka. Could you please stand and be recognized? Zaka is the organization that has to go to a place after an attack and remove remains for proper burial. And I thought about it, and I didn't know the exact number, but you know what my conclusion is? There are thousands of family members of hostages here today, because it's not just a little over 100 bodies that are in captivity. It's over 7 billion souls. The entire world is captive until we rid the world of this monster that has done unspeakable harm against people that wish them no ill and did nothing wrong to them. It is not resistance. It is terror and it is evil. And we have to call it out for what it is. And like the president said, he won't stop and his administration won't stop until it is impossible for them to do what they did before. At this point, I'd like to move along with the program. We're on a bit of a time lapse here. Rabbi Mendy Darren was a key part of American Friends of Lubavitch for years. And he was there when we conceived this idea of the essay contest going national. and this was one of his favorite programs. Rabbi Derin passed away at a very young age, and we decided to dedicate this National Menorah Essay Contest in his memory so that what he stood for, what he strove for, what he enjoyed, and what he loved will continue. So from around the country, we got flooded with essays this year, but we can only have 2 winners. The first is Shalom Mentz, a 4th grader from the Chaya Mushka Children's House in Atlanta, Georgia, a Chabad school. And we'd like him to come forward and read his essay for us as soon as he's ready. Please give your attention and applause to Shalom Mentz.
What Hanukkah means to me. Hanukkah means a lot to me. The delicious traditional foods, the latkes and donuts, and presents. The lighting of the menorah and the exciting game of dreidel. But I think there's a deeper more meaning. The Hanukkah story is all about light conquering over darkness. The Greeks wanted the Jews to be just like them. They forced Jews not to learn Torah and not do mitzvahs. A man by the name of Matisyahu had faith and appointed his son Yehuda to lead the Maccabees, a small but faithful and courageous group of Jews who decided to stand up for what's right. Although it was a small army with few weapons, they miraculously won a victory. When they came to the Beis HaMikdash, they found that they cannot light the menorah because the Greeks had made all the oil they used to light impure. Finally, after tiringly searching, they found 1 jug of oil. There was a problem. It was only enough to last 1 day. Nevertheless, they used it. The oil miraculously lasted 8 days and nights. I think that a lot of darkness has entered this world, and that we have to be just like the Maccabees and stand up for what's right. Even though the darkness may seem overpowering, we can remember that small jug of oil that lasted 8 days and nights. It was small, but it burned through all the days and nights. We can't be held back. We have to stand up for what's right. This is what Hanukkah means to me. It is a reminder to be just like the Maccabees and stand up for what's right and shine light.
Now let's see that beautiful sash you got there. You want to show it off to everybody? And now I get to put this around your neck and declare you officially one of our 2 winners. Sorry, there you go. Nice, beautiful medallion. And I hope and I wish that you have a lot of success in your studies and make your family very proud of you. Happy Hanukkah. Our second winner is Sarah Balanoff from New York Hebrew in Manhattan. She's going to share her winning essay with us. Sarah?
What Hanukkah means to me. Hanukkah is my favorite holiday for many reasons. Spending time with family is most important and fun. It's spending uninterrupted time with friends and family, having lots of fun, enjoying sufganiyot and latkes, and remembering the miracle of the oil when it lasted 8 nights when it should have lasted 1. Lighting candles on Hanukkah reminds me of lighting candles on Shabbat. Like on Shabbat, When lighting the Hanukkah candles, I feel one with the world and unified once I meditate and finish the blessings. The candles shine bright to reveal light, so even in the grimmest of times, the light will always appear the brightest against all darkness. And finally, 8 days of giving and receiving. To me, giving and receiving on Hanukkah is about sharing happiness and cheer. When we share unconditionally, it helps us connect as human beings, see each other's soul with love. Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Whoa, thank you for that. You're going to lower the mic so everyone can see your sash, too. And then Mrs. Taitlin's going to put your medallion around your neck for you to wear and go home with this case that you get. Make sure the photo comes out right so your mom's happy. Thank you very, very much. Have a happy Hanukkah. Let's hear it for those two wonderful kids. At this point, I would like to introduce a clip that we have shown before but remains just as relevant. It is a clip of something the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who founded all of this that we see, that has spread across the country and the world to some 11 or 12,000 celebrations. With members of the military here, I want to mention it's Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, the day that drew us into the Second World War, as I mentioned before. But two things struck me today. One is we have a Japanese television crew who is broadcasting this celebration, which shows that even bitter enemies can find a way, if they are sincere, to reconcile and even be friends. And the other thing that struck me is that just a few hours ago, at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, from which the wicked evil of the Nazi regime spread forth, tonight, the German chancellor attended the lighting of a menorah right there at the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. We can applaud for that. First time in history. But the message is simple. When it's dark, it doesn't mean it's permanent. It just means that we have to get stronger in order to prevail. So I'd like to introduce at this time the video clip of which I spoke, of the Rebbe's inspiration, and then I will show you how we implement what he said, even in these days. Please turn your attention to the screens.
Und das wird noch unterstrichen, wie gesagt, in der Tag von Chanukka, als zugekommen der Mitzvah von Eres Chanukka, was sehr Mitzvah ist doch, als machen lichtig, und machen lichtig al besser besser mi bachutz, in an Reifen, a das macht lichtig sei bei sich in Huis, in Beisei, und das macht lichtig bachutz, was a cheshech chasse Ores, a viele in der Zeit von Finsterkeit von Golus und in der Welt, macht a Jid lichtig, durch Yiddishkeit, durch Ner Mitzvah v'Teiro Eir.
And how is that implemented? Well, I remember when I was 12 years old, the Rebbe called for the founding of Tzivos Hashem. We see too many images of little children holding machine guns, learning how to count by how many Jews they may have disposed of, God forbid. And the Rebbe said, we cannot just protest that. We have to counter it with something brighter. And he established Tzivos Hashem, which would be the forces of God to bring brightness into life. Anyone under bar or bat mitzvah could join. I was 12 years old. I was one of the first members. I was discharged after only 2 months. I didn't reach a high rank. But we do have two children here who are the highest ranking members of this organization. And years ago when we met with President Obama, they wanted a boy or girl who had excelled, so we didn't know how to choose. We figured this was based on merit. And we said, these are 5-star generals or 4-star generals in Tzivos Hashem. I just put it in the briefing memo. He walks into the Oval Office and he greets the little boy and girl and says, "Hi, General." And I can only imagine the power of the commander-in-chief greeting a general who has gotten their rank by doing mitzvot, by reaching out to the less fortunate, visiting the elderly, visiting the sick, making the world brighter with what they do, not threatening others, but to bring out the joy of life in others. So we have asked that they be given their 5-star rank right here in our presence in this special place. And I'd like to bring Sterna Sarah Raskin from Baltimore, who will receive her 5-star rank right here. She has your hand. We are very, very proud of what you're accomplished. And General, I want to salute you on behalf of everybody who's here. Continue this path in life and help make the world a better and brighter place in every way you can. Mazel tov to you. The highest ranking boy in Tzivos Hashem is Yitzhak Mayor Davidson. He's all the way from Los Angeles. And I'd like to have the honor to place his 5-star general cap for his reaching the pinnacle of this program. And I salute you on behalf of everybody who's here. And I want to wish you will continue in this wonderful path of using the energy of your youth to make the world and life brighter and better for as many people, especially the less fortunate who really, really need you. Mazel tov to you too. I understand that the second gentleman of the United States has arrived to the site and will be joining us momentarily. I would like to welcome to the podium at this point Rabbi Abraham Shem Tov, our National Director. Harness him up right away.
Thank you very much. Welcome for the opportunity to join in this special moment. It's interesting that in the laws connected with the day that we are marking here today now, the Gemara says, the Talmud says, Ner Chanukah, the candle of Hanukkah, which means the marking of this holiday. Al Pesach mitzvah lanichaya Pesach beisei v'bachutz. Not only that we do it, but in doing it, we do it where we put it on the entrance of the door to the house outside. And it is a question immediately. We have to mark, light the Ner Chanukah, the menorah. That's order. But the question is where particularly this should be done and placed. That's very unique. And it enters over here on the entrance of the home outside. What does that mean? Is it an entrance to the home to indicate that it belongs to the home? So then why in the door and outside, in any place? But it says over here that the observance of Hanukkah carries with it a very important message to us in life in general. That which we are doing carries with it the extension that it has for outside of ourselves. And that is, of course, when it's done on the outside. So it is an inside activity, but it's done outside because it shares with the rest of the world that carries a message that comes to them as well. There's much that can be said about this one line in the Talmud, but it carries such an important attention from our part as to what it means here at this time of the year, in this moment, in this gathering, the opportunity that we have, that we participate and become participated in the entire world, Klal Yisrael, and the trial mankind in the world, in recognizing that we are not here by ourselves, we are not here by accident, we are here by the order of Hashem, of God, and it is up to us to turn the order into an active influence and effect on us by the observance of our life according to the Torah. Being here gives me the opportunity to thank Hashem, and I welcome you all, and I join you all in wishing a happy Hanukkah, great appreciation to everyone who has put together this, headed by our dear son, the head of the organization. But all of us together have the opportunity. We are reminded to do it together, each and every one of us, his part, those who are Jewish in the observance of Hanukkah, everyone else taking the message along, and we should hope to see the fulfillment of Hashem's return to Zion and the world in the condition that we're all looking forward to, B'korev B'yameinu Mamash. Thank you very much, and happy Hanukkah, and forgive me for holding you up extra and for not having full control in putting together a few words.
Yes. Thank you very much. I am delighted, in ways hard to describe, that my father is able to join us and deliver these words as is our custom, and has not missed a year in all of the years that we've done this. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this together. And it's at this point that I really want to have a special thank you for the managing director of the National Menorah Council, Rabbi Menachem Shem Tov, who put this whole site together. We can do a little better than that. Let's hear it for Rabbi Menachem Shem Tov. Doug Emhoff. Have you heard that name before? I heard that name only a few years ago. And the first time I welcomed the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, to this podium, I didn't really know him. But he came to bring the prestige of the administration to this important celebration. But I've met him many times since. And I just want to say my personal feeling here. There are many Jewish people who have reached the pinnacle of American life to become a household name and well known across the land. Many of them Jewish, but not proudly so. Some prefer not to discuss it. Some make extra steps to go the other way so that they shouldn't be perceived in their Jewishness too much. Not Doug Emhoff. Since he was here 2 years ago, the Jewish people in America, across the world, and now in Israel especially, have begun to suffer in ways we haven't known before. And given a plethora of issues he could have taken as his own, he decided to bring his own personal identity to the issue affecting the Jewish community. He has done so not only well and very articulately, but I can tell you, having been invited several times to meetings which he presided over, this is a man who feels what he says. I can only say one thing in introducing him, because this is something I feel in my kishkas, as President Obama would say. My kishka factor. This comes from deep in my own feeling. And I say it, I hope, on behalf of all of you. When you hear Doug Emhoff speak from the heart, you will be affected by the experience. So we're delighted that he's taken the time. And after that, we'll have a few quick announcements. We'll light the menorah. I know it's chilly and we have to conclude. But at this point, I'd like to welcome to the stage the second gentleman of the United States, Mr. Doug Emhoff.
Thank you, Rabbi Shem Tov, for that amazing introduction and for bringing us all together tonight and always for this incredible event. Congratulations to the students. I think I met some of you on your incredible accomplishment. And thank you to the President's own United States Marine Band for playing for us tonight. They're always amazing. Thank you all. Good to see you. On behalf of President Biden, my wife, Vice President Harris, First Lady, I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah. Now look, normally this is a time of celebration and joy. I want us to celebrate Hanukkah. And I know right now that might seem a little far-fetched to some of you. I know you're in pain. I'm in pain. I know a lot of us are feeling unmoored and afraid. We've not seen anything like this moment, and I know it's scary. Just look at the news just the past couple of days. What have we seen? We've seen the presidents of some of our most elite universities literally unable to denounce calling for the genocide of Jews as anti-Semitic. That lack of moral clarity is simply unacceptable. We've seen a restaurant owner who's a friend of mine accused of genocide simply because he's Jewish. We've all seen college students afraid to go to class. We've seen people afraid to go to markets, afraid to go to synagogues, literally being attacked on our streets. Let me be clear. When Jews are targeted because of their beliefs or identity, and when Israel is singled out because of anti-Jewish hatred, that is anti-Semitism, and it must be condemned. And condemned unequivocally and without context. I've spent the whole time since I've been second gentleman, as Rabbi said, talking out about anti-Semitism. But since October 7th, that horrible day, I have been speaking out publicly as much as I can on what I am calling and what we know to be a crisis of anti-Semitism. But I've also been reaching out privately to many people just to check in, just to see how they're doing, how they're feeling. And the common denominator of these conversations is that we feel alone, we feel hated, we feel we're in pain. But we also talk about how we can rededicate ourselves, how we can recommit ourselves to our pride and our love of being Jewish. And that concept of dedication, rededication, I believe, is the meaning of Hanukkah. I want you to know that President Biden and Vice President Harris and this entire administration have your back. The administration and our community, we put the work in, so we now have the tools to meet this moment. Last December, we convened a roundtable with Jewish leaders at the White House to discuss the growing threat of anti-Semitism even a year ago. And some of you in the audience tonight were there. Soon afterwards, President Biden stood up an interagency, all-of-government task force to address this epidemic of hate. In May, I'm proud to say that the Biden-Harris administration announced the first ever national strategy to counter anti-Semitism and got to work implementing it immediately. And that is why we were ready to engage and act at this perilous and pivotal moment. We are taking action. As attacks increased on college campuses, Secretary of Education Cardona and I met with leaders of major Jewish organizations. Again, some of you are here tonight. And we can see the Department of Education is taking action to ensure that colleges protect their students. President Biden and Vice President Harris have also been working to ensure Israel has the support it needs. Thank you. Because of their leadership, more than 100 hostages, including 4 Americans, are home. We will continue to do all we can to reunite the hostages with their family members. And I personally know how important this issue is to President Biden and Vice President Harris. And President Biden, we are so lucky to have President Biden as our president. A couple of days after the horrible attack on 10/7, he and I spoke at another roundtable with Jewish leaders. That was very difficult for me to imagine how I was going to do that so soon after October 7th. But our president and the whole room looked me in the eye and just asked, "How are you doing?" And I just said, "Not okay." He took my hand, his hands, my hands, and he said, "We're going to be okay. Let's just go out and tell the world how you feel." It was in that moment that those emotions just got me. It hit me. I'm so thankful for his support each and every day. Thank you. My wife, the Vice President, she has always pushed me into this issue and had me lean into it. And she said, "This moment found you, and now get to work." And I've tried to do that each and every day. So even as we face what feels like such empty darkness right now, I am hopeful. Look at the story of Hanukkah. The story of Hanukkah and the story of Jewish people has always been one of hope and resilience. In the Hanukkah story, the Jewish people were forced into hiding. No one thought they would survive or that few drops of oil they had would last. But they did survive, and the oil kept burning. And during those 8 days in hiding, they recited their prayers and continued their traditions. And that's why Hanukkah means dedication. It was during those dark nights that the Maccabees dedicated themselves to maintaining hope and faith in the oil, each other and their Judaism. So in these dark times, I think of that story. But I also think of everything it took for me to be here tonight. I think of my ancestors. This past January, I visited the town in what is now Poland that my family fled to escape persecution. I even got to see the apartment where they lived and the temple where they worshiped. And I know the sacrifice that they made to leave their home and come to the country. I know that was hard. And I know that many, including some in my family, weren't able to escape. So only in America would the descendant of people who had to flee from persecution be standing here with all of you as the first ever Jewish spouse of an American president or vice president. So even though it feels like these are dark times, we will continue to live out the legacy of the generations of ancestors who came before us. We will rededicate ourselves to embracing our faith and practicing our traditions. We cannot live in fear or be afraid. We must always live openly and proudly as Jews. Happy Hanukkah.
Really, really something. I gotta say, that was really good. Here. Here. Let's put a light in. Thank you so much. I would only disagree with a few words of what you said, and that is, you say you try every day. You know, my uncle came from Europe, and he said he found out that I will means maybe, I'll try means forget it. You don't try, you do. And that's a very big difference, and I want everybody here to acknowledge that. We're about to light the menorah and conclude our program. I just would like to acknowledge certain people who've made this possible. As you know, the government affords us every right to do this, but it's privately funded. To that end, I'd like to thank our sponsors this evening. First, I'd like to thank Hudson Bay Capital, whose chairman and CEO are with us this evening, and we'd like to invite the chairman, unless he's already gotten harnessed up, but if he's here, can join me, Sander Gerber. Chevron, which is looking for ways to make one jug of oil last 8 days, and actually told me on the phone yesterday that make sure people know we're looking for renewable energy. Suffolk Construction, whose chairman and CEO, Mr. John Fish, couldn't be here tonight, but I just want to repeat 3 sentences he said a while ago at dinner with us. He came there and identified himself. He said, too often in life, people didn't speak out. And he said that he's an Irish Catholic from Boston, who's the chairman of the board of trustees of a Jesuit university. And he's here at a dinner of the Jewish community to speak out. And therefore, I want to express appreciation not only to Suffolk, but to him personally for taking that stand and for expressing publicly that there would be many like him who would follow suit and do the same. And I do believe that as much as we resent those who hate us, we must recognize the John Fishes of this world who are with us. We have to recognize the Eric Adams of this world who are with us. They are not co-religionists, but they're fellow human beings. And you know, Mr. Mayor, I was thinking about your name. I don't know what Eric means, but Adam describes the first human being created. God created only one. because since we're all descended from Adam, we should know we're all special in a unique way. God doesn't make mistakes. If he created us, he wants us and he needs us. We may look different, we may live different, we may do many things differently from each other, but God loves us all and expects us to bring brightness into the darkness and warmth into the cold. And I think that all of those out here who are not Jewish, including the members of the military who defend our very right to do what we're doing here, deserve the biggest round of applause. We want to thank the Shine a Light Foundation for all of the fantastic work that they have been doing across the country to raise awareness and counter this terrible scourge we've been seeing. And also a special mention to the Mayberg Foundation, Louis and Manette Mayberg, who've helped this become what it is when it was very small, but nurtured the American Friends of Lubavitch, Chabad, to grow and be able to reach more and more people. And they have done so many wonderful things, and I believe that they are here. So if Louis and Manette, if you wouldn't mind just standing and saying hello to everybody for 1 second. Please, round of applause for the people who make this possible. I'd like to also acknowledge the Morris Oring Foundation, Mr. Morris Oring, who's here with us tonight, Alter and Rachel Burke, Mark and Nancy Penn, Isaac and Hilda Applebaum, Jonathan and Laura Barron, Zev and Esty Drizzen, the Daravoff family, the Epstein family. I believe Boris is here with us tonight. Thank you for being here. Bill Knapp and Jeannie Milbauer, who are here, and not only tonight, but they're always there for us. Seth and Rivka Weisberg, who are representing the Weisberg Foundation and their own support, and have flown in from Colorado just to be here. Can you please stand and be recognized? ISRI, the recycling, thank you very much. ISRI, the recycling industry, who brought together all of the recycling companies to make that brand new menorah of recycled aluminum, showing us that you can make good things out of what seems gone. Verizon, who says they wish everybody would use them to wish each other happy Hanukkah. Harry Ajmi and his family, and Choni Hertzka and his family. And I'm going to conclude with this. I had remarks, but time went by. They say there was a king named Tessa who took a loan of grain and said, I want to be repaid very simply. I want you to give me a grain of rice. The next day, I want 100% compounded interest. 2 grains of rice. Then the next day, I'd like 4 grains of rice. The person took the deal and figured, how bad could it be? Well, you do the math. Anyone who knows computing knows that when you start 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32, it doesn't sound like that much. But do you know that after day 30, you'll be up to 1 million? When the day before was only 500,000, the day before it was 120-something thousand. Anti-Semitism has done that, my friends. It's gone from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32, and nobody really noticed. But it's starting to double and compound. And I'm so happy the second gentleman said it so clear. We can't be afraid. We have to be strong. And we have to double our efforts. We have to do more than we've done before. We can't have this asymmetrical where everybody beats us up so terribly and we don't fight back with everything we have. So I hope you'll take his message to heart like I did. I told you, after he speaks from the heart, you're changed from the experience. And go home, light the Hanukkah menorah, find someone who doesn't have one and give them a menorah. Invite them over, share the love, share the light, bring the warmth into the world, because one thing the Lubavitcher Rebbe taught us is when you kindle a light, the dark has no choice. It has to disappear. So on that note, I'm going to, thank you. On that note, I'm going to proceed with the lighting of the menorah. I would just ask that after the menorah is lit, people stand in place, because we will conclude with Oseh Shalom and God Bless America. When we sing Oseh Shalom, I want you to remember our brothers and sisters in Israel who are suffering, like we are all suffering. I don't know what you think of Elon Musk, and I'm not about to poll you, but he wore a dog tag around his neck the other day that said, "My heart is in Gaza." And I know we are very unhappy about a lot of things on X, and I hope they don't cut all the feeds on X going on from this. But if you're watching, Mr. Musk, I want to tell you, I don't care what you did last month or last year. I care about what you did in the last 2 weeks. Keep on doing it and help the world eradicate this evil that's going to eat us all up alive if we don't all get together to stop it. So we'll light the menorah that reminds us of this, and then, of course, we'll conclude with God Bless America after the lighting, which pays homage to our land that we live in, that gives us this freedom. To the men and women of the armed forces, may they be kept safe by the Almighty God at the tip of the spear, stateside and abroad, and all come home safely, safe and sound, back to their families in good health and happiness. And we're about to light the menorah. Sandra, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Rabbi. You know, America is the greatest country on earth. Like the menorah, it's a moral beacon to the world. We should not abide calls for genocide. I'd just like to repeat, we should not abide calls for genocide. Thank you. Happy Hanukkah.
We'll see you in just a moment. Please rise for the lighting and remain standing afterwards for the final 2 tunes. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Thank you very, very much. Just before we conclude, I believe she's here. I saw her before. I meant to acknowledge Shelley Greenspan, the White House Jewish liaison. Let's hear it for Shelley. Helps coordinate Jewish things for the White House. Not an easy job, I can tell you that. So if you wouldn't mind, please stay in place just for the final two songs. Let's remember for Oseh Shalom, we want to bear in mind our brothers and sisters in Israel. May they live in peace. May the hostages come home freely, safely, in good health, and very soon. God bless America. Please pray for our troops.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, אמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Shalom, shalom aleinu li'akol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu li'akol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu li'akol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu li'akol Israel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu li'akol Israel.
God bless America.
America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain.